on a little outdoor hike with my Work Tough Gear knife. The thing with Work Tough Gear is they're easy knives to review. You know, not like any content that you create is easy, especially the way I approach it. No content is easy. The thing about Work Tough Gear is regardless of the knife that you review from them, they're all built so well and they're all just made to perform. They're not gonna fail on you. You know that factory edge is gonna be crazy sharp. You know they're gonna be tough. You know they're gonna be heat tempered well, and you know they're gonna be comfortable in the hand. So when you review a Work Tough Gear, you review one, you've pretty much reviewed all of them to the point where they're all going to be consistent with being the same type of quality, craftsmanship, and reliability. And that's a good thing about Work Tough Gear. You can take your pick as far as what is your fancy and what you like and what you don't like. If you want a Nesmic style, if you want a big buoy, if you want basically an everyday fixed blade type of thing, you know that Work Tough Gear, they're not going to fail you. They're not going to let you down. They're all going to be consistently good freaking knives. Knife of the hour is the Steadfast. Okay, this is currently a special knife for me. This is my favorite currently Work Tough Gear knives right now. It speaks to me. It's a vibe knife. It's really easy to carry, easy dangle. You have Kydex sheath of very high quality, and you also have a custom Kydex sheath with the custom belt dangler where you can kind of remove it from your belt, which I won't do now, without having to take your belt off, which is mad cool because you can remove it, and if you don't want it on your belt for any reason, and you don't have to undo your whole belt. It has the Velcro strap, always a good quality Kydex sheath you get from Work Tough Gear. We talk about vibe knives. This is definitely a vibe knife for me. I mean, just the blade shape, just look at that aggressive point, that beautiful grinding, the ferro rod attachment over here, ferro rod space where you can, it's made to strike a ferro rod, great outdoor type of knife. We don't talk about fighting with knives, but we talk about self-defense. I mean, look at it. It's just kind of obvious. It's definitely a fighting knife, a self-defense type of knife. Look at that piercing tip. It's definitely a piercer. It's definitely something you can pierce things and stab with. I mean, it's that kind of knife. So it's not really hard to really mistaken that knife for anything, this knife for anything else other than that first and foremost. But it is so much more. Maybe basically while I'm in the woods right now, I'm gonna have like a rabid, freaking crazy possessed zombie deer jump out of nowhere. You know what? I think I'll take my chances with this knife. I think it would do a good job protecting my life. I'd rather have my one of my katana, but I think this thing will do a good job defending your life against a rabid animal or a crazy animal attacking you. This is definitely going to do the job. It's got a nice 5-inch blade, but it definitely gives you that appearance. This type of knife gives you that appearance right from the get-go. Listen, guys, if you guys watch my channel at all, you know that I am a sucker, an absolute sucker for aesthetics, okay? The aesthetics of this knife, just the way it's put together, the blade shape, the grinds, the different types of grinds, that tip, the swedge that goes up to the tip. I mean, the aesthetics of this knife is beautiful. I love the detail of this knife. You can see basically in the B-roll there how beautiful this knife really is. It just, it appeals to me. This is a vibe knife. I don't use that phrase very often, but this is definitely a vibe knife for me from Work Tough Gear. It's a knife that just feels good. It feels good. It's something I want to carry. I want to keep with me. I like the blade shape. I like looking at it. I like using it. It just feels good in the hand. It looks good in the hand. And it just feels right. It's a vibe knife for sure. It's a K329 bowler steel. It's about a 58 to 60 HRC. It's obviously a beautiful full tang. It's a 10.5-inch overall, 5.5-inch blade length, which is absolutely perfect for its purpose. It's got a 0.188 inch thickness or 4.77 millimeters of thickness behind the edge, behind the point, which is perfect for this type of knife. Very slicey type of knife. Well, if I understand, this is version 2 from the first rendition. They made this a little slicey, a little thinner behind the edge, but it's still got enough meat behind the edge to make it a good slicer, but enough meat behind the edge where it'll make it also a very tough knife that won't fail you. And listen to this, guys. It's got a saber grind. I love a saber grind. I really do. I like it a little bit more than a full flat grind because there's a lot of perks to it. It's a saber grind with a micro convex edge, okay? You know how sometimes we say, oh, you know, the knife came very sharp out of the box, This is a basically sharp demon. I mean, this is probably one of the sharpest knives I've ever gotten from Work Tough Gear. You can see how it's sharp, the factory edge, how crazy sharp this thing is. It's not just sharp, it's not just serviceable sharp, that you can use it without a problem. It is crazy sharp. Combination of that saber grind with the convex edge made this thing absolutely sharp as shit, okay? I don't use that very often. It is sharp as shit, without a doubt. You can see how it's getting through, you know, tough materials, the ratchet straps, the heavy copper wire, which is all frozen because it's all outdoors, and how well it's cutting through everything. This thing came insanely sharp. Very, very impressed with the sharpness level that this came out of the factory. It's a drop point blade, but it's got a really nice, it almost looks like an upswept type of point, a really just nice, devastating point. I mean, you just want to have this in your hand. You just want to cut with it. You just want to cut with it. You just want to kind of pierce things with it. It's that kind of knife. It's about 10.5 ounces overall weight. Perfect weight. Perfect type of balance on the knife. And the designer is Calvin Richardson. And Calvin, thank you for sending this knife over to me with Work Tough Gear for a review. I much appreciate it. I really love this design. Now guys, nothing I do on these reviews is scientific, as Scab says, okay? It's just trying to give you the best way of testing the knife and showing you what the durability of the heat tempering and stuff like that. I don't have any doubts. I don't have any doubts when I get something Work Tough Gear that it's gonna go through the normal testing that we do with it. But I'm gonna do it anyway just to show you basically how the edge came and how it's heat tempered. When I cut through the steel tubing, the steel reinforced sand blaze hose, what do I do with that? Want to see how the grip is, want to see how it cuts through that material, because it is very hard material to cut through, and it is steel and reinforced, so it is going to do a number on the edge. So if you don't have a good heat tempered blade, it will chip or mar the edge a little bit. So I did cut through that without too much of a problem. Well, really no problem. I mean, it's very sharp, but we also have to understand that this sand blade hose has been outside, so it's kind of like frozen at this point, because it is like below 30 now. So it is kind of a frozen sand blade hose. It's not a Florida sand blade hose like Scab uses. It's frozen. So it made it a little bit more, a little harder to kind of get through, but it got through the sand blade hose with no problem. But I wasn't finished here. The reason why we cut through rubber tires, pierce and cut through rubber tires, is to also steel reinforce, and it's really hard to get through that rubber. You also want to see the grip and see how the grip is in your hand and how it feels to kind of cut through those materials. And that rubber tire, that's like about a little over an inch rubber tire. That was unusually thick rubber tire, and it's steel reinforced on 2 different spots. So it was a very tough tire to go through, and also it's frozen. So it did cut through the rubber tire. I got through the entire ring and cut a whole layer of tire off. I wanted to really push this edge as much as possible to show you basically what you're getting from the factory and how durable it is. Not to say that you're going to be cutting steel reinforced stuff, but just to know that you can do it, that it is a strong edge, that it is not going to fail you, that with everyday cutting outdoors, wood, things like that, opening up envelopes, cutting through, processing wood for a fire, it's not going to fail you, because we pushed it a little bit harder than you would normally push it. So it did a great job, and you look at the edge and it's absolutely fine. No edge damage, no rolls or anything like that. It's a perfectly fine, good looking edge. And even the finish actually didn't mar up. Sometimes that happens when you're going through steel belted stuff. So it handled those tests, the durability tests, really well. Heat tempering check, sharpness level, triple freaking check. It is a great edge right from the factory, and it's durable so far. Now, it's not a chopper, but it definitely has, I mean, the G10 handle that this thing has, incredibly comfortable and contour to the hand. This thing, you want to hold this thing all day. It is an incredibly comfortable handle. It's about 5 inches on the G10, incredible fit and finish all the way around. The G10 is just butter smooth, no hot spots or sharp ends. Of course, I'm wearing gloves, it's cold out, but I've obviously held this many times. I love how it angles where you can kind of really just choke up on it and really get in there without a sharp pommel and really set yourself back a little bit. Okay, the way this is kind of curved over here, it's perfectly curved for the hand. It is just an incredibly well-made G10 handle. Love the orange liners, love the fit and finish, absolutely flawless. They strive for perfection, and it's incredibly comfortable in the hand, as you can see. So if I'm gonna chop with this thing to try and process wood and get some branches so I can kind of make some wood, and there you go. You know, it's just chopping wise, I mean, it is just an absolute pleasure to kind of use. It's very, very comfortable in the hand. And it's got great balance and great momentum basically in the chop. It's not a chopping knife, but you can definitely use it for that. And in terms of slicing, I mean, this is going to be a feather sticking king for you. It really is. I mean, it just basically has that type of grip where you really, if you even want to go in and just do some fine feather sticking, or maybe some notches or something like that, it has that type of grip where you can really get in there, and it's so comfortable kind of to use, so well balanced, and you just got an edge that just basically is just made to process, made to cut. It just wants to cut. You could feel like the knife in your hand, even if you go to the point, even if you go right to the point here and really dig that point into the wood, if you wanted to process some notches or something like that, this knife, you feel like it's made for it. And it's just a pleasure. It's a pleasure to hold, pleasure to use. It's just, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping you can see why, towards the end of this video, why this ends up being a vibe knife for me. Just basically how well this thing performs, and just kind of the more and more you use it and get used to basically the contour of the saber grind and stuff like that, the more and more it's going to be comfortable in your hand, and it's going to be more adapt to basically the edge of the knife, and you become one with the edge extremely fast. So basically, if you want, you can make a tent stake at the same time. A little thin on this tent stake, but you get the idea. Basically come to a very fine point very easily. So I basically chopped down a dead branch from a tree, debarked it, made up a notch, and also made a tent stake. We're pretty much within the premise of these couple minutes of this video here. That's how fast you can kind of really work with this knife, how fast it's going to work for you and do whatever you need it to do for you. Basically, working with this knife, it really just feels like an extension of your hand. Really comfortable, and even comfortable when basically you're really getting in tight to really get in those notches and just using both hands and using the whole knife. It's that type of knife where basically it's going to be comfortable doing whatever you need to do with it. And I could just cut with this thing all day long. Finish is excellent. I mean, it looks good, but now I can see it is working really good. That I think is going to handle whatever you throw at it. Really happy with it from what I've seen thus far. But it's just that type of knife that just wants to continue to cut, and you know it's not going to fail you. And it's I'm looking at the edge right now after just doing all the durable stuff and cutting through the wood and banging this thing into the wood. It's really handled itself well. This is not a chopper, guys, but it definitely acts like a chopper. And the good thing about this knife is, this is, you know, just some really hard wood here. I'm obviously not trying to cut right through it, but you can see basically the edge is still in perfect shape. Okay, we're just trying to put even a little extra abuse on it. And you know, this is not really abuse. On a good knife, a good well-made knife, you're not gonna mar up the edge. And it's just to show you that basic craftsmanship or Work Tough gear is not gonna fail you. They're consistent with their knives. They're consistent with what you purchase. I mean, look at that spine, beautiful. You're consistent in terms of the product that you're getting from them. Act as basically a baton type of knife if you needed to. It's that tough. I mean, you can see how it's just kind of really doing short work. I'm processing a couple of these logs over here. And I'm really trying to put a lot of pressure on the point. Again, like I said, guys, this is not a heavy knife. This is a 10-ounce freaking knife. It's not even a pound, but it's just a matter of how it's built and how the contour and the geometric of it that really makes it a knife that you could do everything with, man. Doesn't have to be a heavy knife in order to do sometimes everything that a larger knife can do, as long as it's built well and you're using it in the right way. Yep. If the geometric is there and the edge is there and the balance and the strong construction of the full tang is there, you can definitely baton with a knife that's only about 10 ounces. You can see basically I did, you know, a long piece of wood, all dried up wood too. It really kind of cut through, probably made us, it started off as a six foot piece of wood and it kind of chopped right through it. So batoning, definitely a check. Edge is fine, the spine is fine. Knife looks absolutely fantastic still. This thing could definitely go all day, all weekend. And from what I feel through the gloves, still feels pretty damn sharp. Definitely a do-it-all knife that you want outdoors. To say that I'm impressed is basically an understatement. It's really beyond impressed. It's not just because it's a review sample, had nothing to do with it. I just really like the knife. I like the way it works. You can see basically how comfortable it was in doing whatever I needed to do with it. Now I'm enjoying a hike outside with my Steadfast because I know that if I get stuck out here in the woods, I'll be able to process the fire. I'll be able to defend myself against a wild animal. I'll be able to kind of survive with it. So it's definitely that type of knife. I will do it in style. It's definitely a great looking knife. And it's just at home outdoors like this. It's that type of knife that's not gonna fail you. 6-month warranty that they back their craftsmanship and there's no defects. They give you a 6-month warranty on that. And a lot of people don't mention that in their reviews, but they do have a good solid 6-month warranty if there's any defects out of the craftsmanship of the knife when you first receive it. Here's the beautiful Staten Island waterline that I'm talking about. Pretty much, it's an island, so it is surrounded by water. It's a beautiful day here, so definitely, yeah, really beautiful vistas over here, guys. Beautiful vistas. Love this area. I love the fact that I'm near some woodlands here, that I'm able to kind of do these reviews for you. But such a beautiful spot and a really nice day for a hike. And a great knife to be having at your side when you are hiking, so. Calvin Richardson is the designer. Calvin, you hit it out of the park with this one. I really am digging this knife. Not because it's a review sample, I'm really digging it. I love this knife. I think it's just one of the finer knives I've gotten. Having the pleasure to review from Work Tough Gear. I love all their knives and they're all, you know, constantly good. They're constant in terms of the type of quality that they're giving you out of these knives. You know what you're gonna get from Work Tough Gear, and this is definitely no exception. With this being a versatile knife that can do pretty much everything, has that really striking point to be a good fighting or self-defense knife, and also being a do-everything knife. I didn't strike a ferro rod here, but believe me, this definitely can strike. And also being comfortable in the hand and just having that next level of sharpness that I've never seen from Work Tough Gear. Myself personally, between the saber grinder and that micro convex edge, really a winning combination. Would I carry this knife? Yeah, I am going to carry this knife. I'm going to carry it on the rest of this camping walk here, this hiking walk. Beautiful day out here in Staten Island. And I will definitely with pleasure hike with this and carry this on my hip whenever I'm out, because it will do, I think, everything that I want it to do. So it's a winner, guys. Dropping December 19th, 24 is the next drop of this version 2. And definitely don't miss it on Work Tough Gear's website. I'll leave a link, okay, direct link for it. December 19th is going to be the drop date for this knife on worktoughgear.com. Do not miss it. It'll make for a great Christmas gift to loved ones or to yourself, you know. Definitely a knife you want to pick up if you're able to. So, Calvin Richardson, great job. Work Tough Gear, always a great job. This is the Steadfast. Take a look at it, December 19th. Get it in your hands. You won't regret it. Good stuff. Thanks to Work Tough Gear. And enjoy the rest of my hike. Have a good day, you all. Steadfast. Should have brought my glasses. It's sunny.